Okay, welcome to part 2 of today's stream. As we get back into Super Mario Maker and some puzzles. So I said when I ran my last Maker feature stream last week, the one that was all music levels, that I had a couple of music plus puzzle combination levels that were on my list that I didn't get to because we were kind of overflowing with music levels already. So I'll do a couple of those to start, and hopefully they'll be solvable in a reasonable amount of time. And we'll see what we have time for afterwards. I probably won't be doing something like a giant 2-hour escape room or something today because that just won't fit. But I'll at least do a handful of levels and stay on for maybe another hour or so. So, here is a level by Cupcake. I think we actually finished on Cupcake last week, but here's Death Note Puzzle and Music. I know nothing about Death Note, but it's a puzzle, so we'll play it. And we'll enjoy L's and Nier's theme, and hopefully the sound is going to work well enough for all of that to play unimpeded. And it's apparently a medium weight puzzle, so maybe it won't be too burdensome on my mind. I feel just barely warmed up though. Because nothing that we did at the end of Carto was particularly demanding. Even if we did have to assemble all those Tetris pieces. So, let's listen to some music, let's solve a puzzle, let's see how it goes. I'm still Luigi from a previous stream. Okay, so there is a music loading zone when you come out of the other side. I think that's after you solve whatever is going on the other side of the pipes now, in the subworld, where the puzzle has been cleverly disguised. So the music track is going to play, and the objective here is going to be to get through the key door. The key is attached to this. The one-up mushroom does not seem accessible to me right now, and making the one-up mushroom move is not going to be the thing because it's trapped behind a one-way panel. So I need to find something, some way to get rid of the muncher possibly with the POW and then displace an object like using a shell throw or something, or really just dropping a Buzzy and letting it run. Actually, a shell throw will be just fine because it'll sail over this block and then get trapped by a one-way panel on the other side. Yeah, so either a shell throw or a Buzzy walk will drop over there and get the key. But the idea is that I would need to activate the POW while I am holding a shell, so the shell is not killed by the POW. The other thing too, notice that I'm standing on something solid here on the top half. I actually don't know if this is a red on-off state block that I'm standing on. Something else entirely. I can't actually quite tell. I think it must be. We can always test that and find out. It might also be something that I can blow open with a bomb, but I, once again, can't tell. I think the bomb is actually going to be for this top location up here. That will allow me to get up to the spring. This key door. Oh, okay, that's interesting. No, I see what's going on. I have to enter that key door. I have to enter this key door, because it's going to drop me below the semi-solid. This is clearly a semi-solid, I see now. But then I have to emerge from this door with a POW in hand. I don't absolutely have to, in fact, as long as I'm able to get a POW twice. Whoops, I didn't mean to do that. We need to reset through this room. Because if I activate one POW to kill this muncher, that's fine. But I would need to go through the door, and then pop back through this door, come back out into the main zone, and grab the POW again in order to go through the key door and kill the other muncher on my way out. The other thing too is that notice that I have no way to come back out unless I grab the spring first. Hence the presence of a reset spike here. That allows you to just respawn at checkpoints. Sure, we'll take to that. Why not? We're going to switch to Pink Mushroom Girl, though, because she needs to come out of retirement for a bit to solve some puzzles. Next attempt, of course. So, we need to get rid of the bomb, and then get up to the top level, probably with some kind of bounce. Also, we need to see what's in the question block. That's something that I don't know yet, and we have to test that out. Ah, okay, no, we needed to bomb that first. Let's just switch to Toadette and see that. Yeah, that was kind of a hidden piece of information in terms of Divine. I guess it couldn't really have been much else, but... Anyway, that gives me something to work with here. Bomb is going to take that out. Also, it means that if you bomb the question block, it does, of course, respawn. The other thing to keep in mind is that spending one shell is going to activate that, but drop into the pit. And we don't want to do that yet until we've had a chance to maybe do this. Let's save the shell until we know we need it. We use it here. Grab the spring, use the spring to grab the POW block, and then do all the other stuff that we were talking about. We can also just fish this guy out of here. On-off switch is not actually useful for anything else. So we'll do that. That's going to allow me to get the POW. Yeah, because I'll need to pop out of the key door, and then I'll need to do this interaction again. Although the bomb will already have been activated, so that's going to be fine. Let's displace this. Get up here. We need to be holding the shell while we activate the POW. Well, how do we do that? We need to hit the POW from below, then. So, let's hold the shell. Hit the POW. Up throw. Because then the shell... Yeah, that's just bomb protection. Okay, that's going to walk over. Now we have to respawn through the door once we go through, so we can grab a second POW. No, we actually don't need to jump through there. Wait a minute. Okay, so that actually is one way. I didn't realize that we would be hitting the vine block over here. That's sort of unfortunate. Because that means it is going to be death. Okay, we need to rethink this then, because... That's okay, because the other thing that we can do to move the Muncher out of position is to just use a spring. And it would get it above the bumper and above the ceiling, probably, before the invisible block over the Muncher activates. So that's the only thing. It was just that there is a little bit of hidden information in this puzzle when it comes to some things that trick you out. And yeah, sometimes they do... in the one-screen genre, have these little last-minute tricks that happen. And that's okay, because they usually, when they're done right, if you're just going to be trolled with something like that, if it kind of counts as that, then really you just need to make one small adjustment. Yeah, sure, we'll let that happen. That is actually surprisingly okay. So we just need to make sure we have some of these dual-use items like that, and then we'll carry the POW forward with us when we do everything else. So yeah, the ultimate solution is actually going to be easier than what I was attempting to do earlier. So it is going to be pretty simple. We just up throw the shell into the muncher. It's going to walk over to the key. We'll grab the POW, that's going to be it. So yeah, shell's going to walk. We take this, kill the muncher, and we are through. Pretty simple. Now we see part 2. It's going to play a different track. Can't really tell what's going on with the cloud pattern. But we're just going to squish all the pokies out of the way. Okay, that's it. Okay, quick and easy. Let's take a look at some more. So yeah, again, still doing some more of the overflow list from the music session last week. Here's another one that was marked as a music puzzle that I had in mind. Let's see if I can actually read this code off my minuscule notepad here. So this is by Jim Zen, whose levels we've played many times in the past before because he's kind of a Zelda music specialist. Sometimes in a puzzle context, sometimes not. Just try to get a better view of my codes here locally on my side. This is Twinrova's Shrine, and it is a music puzzle. A bit of a longer record on this one, so I don't think it's a one screen. I think it's going to be a bit of a longer layout of locks and solutions. But we've played some things like that by Jim Zen before, so that's no surprise. We'll just be loaded into something wide that will play the track, and we'll progress through it. Reach the goal after grabbing all 250 coins, so we'll be hitting 2 particular waypoints somewhere along the way. Look at this icicle just threatening you right from the start. Okay, so you can drop an object down here or do a deflection. What you can't do is get yourself down. We've seen that kind of slope setup before, I'm pretty sure. Anyway, I assume this is actually Twinrova's boss theme from Ocarina of Time. I actually could not quite remember it. We will eventually need some kind of object to get up here, except this is SMB1. It couldn't be so simple. We can go through here first. Probably just drop in by going off to the side here. Lighting up the bomb. Lighting up the bomb, I said. We need to really compress this thing. Whoops. I think we should be able to, as long as we have good timing like that. That'll drop that in. Okay, so that allows me to go through here. I guess we'll eventually get something like a bone shell or a shoe, and that's going to be the thing that allows me to progress up to the first 50 coin that we saw much earlier. Anyway, here's the other 50 coin. Also notice that the conveyor belt has actually shifted the piranha, in fact, because of the on-off switch, and because it has done that, we're able to go through to the key, as well as grab it and tap it over, and move the piranha midway. Eventually we can bust these things down, and it will be... if we activate a P-switch, or we find a mushroom or some other object, we'll be able to ignite the bomb that's down there. Still no access to this guy yet, but we'll eventually have to have some kind of item that allows me to jump up. Switching the on-off state does allow me to go over here to the left. And, yeah, I guess this is just telling me that Shelmets are on the other side. Not that they're a requirement, so maybe. Interesting that we have this part 2 music track here. Okay. So we need to choose an item here. I'm going to take the spiny hat because we want to break through some of the blocks that we saw earlier, so. And it'll stay broken, as far as I know. Well, let's see if this is actually going to wind up being correct. That's sort of interesting that you get that item choice there. I probably needed to pay attention to whether the order was going to matter. But the idea is that I'm going to bust down everything I can. And yeah, including this. Because once we do the whole on-off layout, okay, I need to spawn the piranha plant back in order to have it appear in the correct position on the conveyor. Yeah. Otherwise it was pushed all the way there. So now we ignite the bomb. Still no clarity yet as to how we're going to eventually make it up to that top coin. There is this donut block here that's above where we were. Nope, that's nothing. So I need to think about this because we still don't see something like a boot that I can take with me. Nor do I have a second key for a second item. Yeah, it looks like we just need to hit that, actually. It's probably going to spawn a bone shell. So we'll do that. Oh, bullet. Okay, no, didn't we just jump on a bullet? Yeah, that's simple. Nope, we missed. Alright. Let's nuke this guy. Don't need him anymore. There we go. That's the clear condition, and let's go back, grab the axe. Let's not fall into the pit. Okay, neat idea. In terms of having ample room to build around 2 looping music tracks. You're only going to be able to squeeze in so many interactions when you do that, but the way the layout was set up, and also just that back and forth, that was repositioning the piranha plant, stuff like that, managed to squeeze a fair bit of interaction out of this layout, so thank you for the GG. I actually had another one from Jim's End marked out, I think. Let's just take a look at his list. I played a lot of these in the past before, so. Not all of them are puzzles, of course, but enough of them are. That, yeah, this is the one I was going to look at. This is Tarrey Town from Breath of the Wild, presumably. Which you spent a great deal of time building. I was really quite astonished when I did build the original Breath of the Wild Tarrey Town. Because I discovered that quite organically. And very deep in the game. And K2 Hegemon, welcome. Yeah, K2 Hegemon, I was doing the second half of an indie game earlier today. I was playing Carto, and we finished fairly early. And so I thought I'd just take a bit of extra time to get back to some maker puzzles. We'll be doing more indie games in the weekday streams over the next 2 or 3 weeks. I'll probably be doing another one tomorrow in a stream in the same block of time, and we are going to be back for viewer levels for Mario Maker this weekend. So Mario Maker has not been abandoned. I really hope that as you go through this level, it actually is going to continue to stack the Tarrytown music. Anyway, we'll eventually need something like a Shelmet to... no, we can just use Master Sword. But I think we'll need the Shelmet to eventually get through the Podoboos here. We can, of course, get through the Flames. We can also eventually do something with the Seesaw Pound. Yeah, you can't go through the pipe. That's just for the Master Sword refresh. So, what shall we do with this? I don't think you can actually do anything with this guy other than... Yeah, because that dies to Shelmet, it dies to the Bone Shell, and pretty much nothing else. But we can just bomb our way out, and that's going to do something. That's interesting. I think maybe, now that we have bombed that, we can actually run out of this location and maybe this spawn blocked something if we come back here eventually. So let's just take a hit and just scroll out. Ah, no, we need to bomb this location with the Master Sword, which tells me that I just need to get out of there with the Master Sword intact. And then come all the way back here. Lots of different bomb locations, as you can see. We might just need to be fairly quick. Because I don't think we can just do this all the way. It's just not going to last. We can, however, balance the seesaw in such a way that would allow me to go upwards, perhaps. No, I think I actually do need to take the hits on the way up, unless we project a second Master Sword. Ah, you know what? No, this is how we do it. We escort a second Master Sword upwards, so I'm allowed to take damage after that. I haven't seen that Terminator mode back here in a while, but he used to do so many of these sword tapping levels, and so I'm so accustomed to this mechanic by now. I feel like that's not high enough. No, that's okay. We just need to reclaim the sword. But yeah, I think Terminator mode has been on a break from the game. But I used to see him around here all the time, and he would show me all kinds of... hit the Master Sword with the Master Sword levels. And... so I'd just be very accustomed to that. Can we get back out? Yeah. Let's bomb this location too, in case it's a spawn block. It may be, it may not. We can just scroll off the screen and maybe try to load back in. I think that's still within the boundary. We can also send a second sword up here, maybe. So we can take damage and go through. I'm wondering about this note block, actually. Feels like I should be able to tap it with something. I feel like it's just off the diagonal by enough that we won't be able to do it that way. We can, however, hit it with an object, like a bomb that we... no, actually, it's not going to hit from below. Never mind that. If we take damage, though... yeah, no, I need to get on top of the donut block, sink down with the sword intact, and tap it from the side. And using the note block, it would actually, if we project an additional Master Sword up to this location here, the note block pushes it to the donut block. And then we can get down on a donut block, and then we can, for example, drop a bomb by the on-off switch. I think that's how it's going to work. So let's see if we can tap a sword to a different location entirely. I guess the swords would just refresh as you go through the door, but then... Oh no, you just get reset. But the blocks are now open, so maybe some things do spawn in these locations. Yes, they do. Okay. And the Tarry Town music starts to stack. That's wonderful. I mean, that's the whole point of using this track, right? Like, why use this music if you're not going to stack it? With additional instruments like we saw in the grand finale of Carto. Very satisfying. Nothing in the note block. And so yeah, I'm sure we'll just go back through this layout a couple times until we figure out how to do the rest and refresh the music a couple times. Now what happens if I come through this door now? Is there some additional spawn blocking? Oh no. Yeah, we knew that from earlier actually, that both of the doors were matched. But we've toggled the on-off state now such that the level will have undergone some additional change. Oh. Okay, time is now of the essence, apparently. I can probably tap this guy. No, no invisible block there. Okay, so no on-off switch anymore for this bomb. Let's see if I understand what to do then. I'm just looking at that clue that's in that totally inaccessible location on the right side. Oh, you know what? This was telling me something about something to the right of all this because it's the same kind of setup. I feel like maybe... Yeah, well, I need to take a look at the right side again. I didn't get a good visual look at that clue. Whoops. We're going to run out of time. But I feel like that, because of its visual resemblance to this zone here, was telling me about something around the vicinity of the one-way panel, like an invisible block that I could maybe tap in that location. Whoops. Yeah, we're going to time out. Let's redo this. I think we'll be starting from scratch. But that's okay. Now I know how to read the different parts of the level, so let's just load back in. And take a nice big dive. Okay. Now let's tap this. Up we go. And we'll bomb this because of the bullet spawn block. And that top block here as well, for some reason. I don't actually know what that's for yet. But we'll do it. And then we'll load in back from the top. Okay, so we'll take this and tap this over. Same idea as before. Timing does matter a little bit here because we need the note block to do that push. Let's give myself enough room to actually do the downward strike. And then when we go to the other side, this time I'll actually read the clue properly. This guy here. So it looks like it's telling me something about that same kind of setup over there, maybe. I can't quite tell. I actually don't know. I mean, this is a purely visual clue that I can't interact with in any meaningful way. So that I don't know about just yet. Whoops! Oh, didn't mean to come down here. And we do need the Master Sword, otherwise we die at the gate, so... let's just go back up. So we know we get blaster blocked over here. And if that's the case, then what do I do with this track information? It seems like it's matched to what we see on the left side of the screen. But I don't really see how. Maybe we do just need to traverse that a second time. Yeah, maybe we just need to go back there and things will become clear. So why don't we wrap around? Take this, load the next part of the music, and... I mean, it could also be that the extra tracks there are just part of the music loading. But some of these other tracks that the Podoboos are on are clearly functional as part of the puzzle. So we don't want to jump to too many conclusions here. Realistically, did anything else change? Okay, it's 1-ups that come out of there. Did anything else at all change? What is even holding the key? It might be the bomb holding the key, in which case we need to activate the on-off switch. Or do something else entirely. Yeah, I guess right now I need something to get through the key door, and I don't actually know what would be holding that. Whoops. Let's not do that. I feel like it probably is the bomb. Unless it was part of an auto activation of some sort that I didn't see earlier on. Don't really see anything else as being within range. The other thing is, this spot is open. I wonder if being within 2 tiles that does anything whatsoever. It doesn't. I think the spot is purely to let you see that the blaster is going to be spawning the 1-ups on the other side. How would that be relevant? I don't know yet. But let's maybe get this sword out of here. And we'll get the sword on the other side. Once more, when we can. Get back here in position. Now what? I don't actually see anything I can interact with. That's the problem here. Maybe missing something critical. But I'm just trying to figure out what I can actually interact with that is new. Can I interact with an on-off switch? I don't see a way to do it. I have tried to note block. Can I do anything to detonate the bomb? I don't think I'm within range. No invisible blocks to hit. The only thing that we've had access to is that seeming clue on the right side. Seems to imply I should check some of this stuff. Look at this location here. Oh no, that's just some variation into semi-solids, huh? Is there some way that I can get another switch activation on the on-off switch? I don't see that I can. Because the blue blocks do ensure that nothing I do is within range. It's possible to knock the Podoboos out of position, like off the track somehow, and do something to activate the bomb, which I'm not in range of right now. There's really nothing I can do to activate this, apart from an on-off switch activation. I just don't currently see a way. Yeah, we'll hit timeout here, and I have made no progress since the last timeout, unfortunately. Maybe didn't try hard enough to tap. Oh, you know what? Shield. Yeah, it's a shield deflection. That's what it is. Because if you do a shield deflection of the Podoboo, you can manipulate those off the tracks in such a way that you'll eventually ignite that bomb and blow it up. I'm actually quite sure that's what it will be. It's hard to set up, but the idea should be sound. You're not going to do it on this guy, but you can totally do it with the other one, and I think that's what the clue was trying to tell me about on the right side. No, we need to send a sword over, not the bomb. Interesting that this can be blown open, though. It has to be, because you need to get into that position to manipulate the sword. Okay, same idea here. We'll blow all that up. Okay. Back down we go. And we'll grab the sword. We'll take the next one over. Okay, that's going to take me over. And I'll just give you a bit of a concept demo, even though this is not going to do anything useful for me right now. Yeah, so we can bump that guy out. And then we can slowly bump him even further, step by step, until it hits the bomb on the next pass. Not on this attempt, obviously, because we need to deal with the on-off switch first, but eventually, when we've done this whole loop that brings me over to this side, that's what will happen. It is almost as though these tracks are trying to give me a sense of what's going on. You know, maybe trying to visualize the shield with it or something, but you are kind of left to your own devices to figure that out. This is a sensible thing to do. You don't really have too many other possibilities, and I just had to narrow down the range of interactions eventually. When the bomb was sitting there so conspicuously, like it's about to give us the key. We will need to escort a sword to the other side again, of course. Nope. Too far. Need to let it slide down the seesaw. Do its own little thing there, fall into the slot. Wait for the note block to do its thing. Now this will be a bit of an accuracy check. I've never been good at the shield bumps against munchers or anything else. Okay, let's walk around carefully. We can always have a Master Sword refresh, of course. Okay. We'll just bump it a step at a time, actually. Okay. You have to do it slowly, but it does work. I wonder if it's actually the bomb that holds the key or the block that holds the key is the block. And that's a GG. Is there anything else I can do here? Probably not. Well, really nice usage of that concept. Let's take a look at this. How is that accessible? I think I needed something like a spiny hat, possibly as a secret somewhere. That's the only thing I can think of, that you need a spiny or buzzy hat to move the muncher out of position. I don't see any other option, actually. I think that had to be it. And I just don't see where the placement could have been. Unless it's just in a top corner or somewhere. I mean, we can always go back through the door and check to see if there's any additional spawn manipulation coming back out of the key door. But here, it just throws you into silence since the Tarrytown music is not loading, so... Very curious, this thing. We'll just have to wonder. Might just be tricking me out here. So yeah, don't really know what was going on with that bonus part of the flag there, but really nice usage of both layering music and a repeated puzzle room, though. I quite like the mix and match of those two concepts. Okay, we'll do a few more puzzles, and then we'll probably call it from there. Might as well catch up on some Grokowski, actually. Since that's always quite a bit of fun. Also because I know that most of his puzzles can be done in a very regular amount of time. And he makes them quickly. He has been streaming a lot of puzzle creation lately, and so he has been cranking out one every week or two. And yeah, Crash, I'm glad you enjoyed that as well. I thought that was a very well-constructed level. Even with some of the seemingly hidden information with some of the blaster locations coming out. I mean, you were never strictly locked if you were actually paying attention. So yeah, I'm actually 2 behind on this one. Small Like a Ball was just a platforming level that Grokowski sent me last week, but let's catch up on the puzzles. Here's Old Man Goomba. Old Man Goomba lives in a shoe haunted by the soul of Mario's boot. The soul. Cyphus with the record as usual. That's a very typical sight. This was just uploaded last week. Let's dive in and take a look. Reached a goal while wearing a shoe. Looks like we can, in fact, come down through here, so we'll do it. And look at this, it really does kind of look like a face, doesn't it? You've got two eyes, you've got a nose, you've got the mouth. You've got nothing here. I guess technically you're punching the house in the face. But we'll keep this in mind in case there's anything that we can actually do up here, but I think it's just for decoration too. Kind of give you a clue as to the horrors that await. Okay, so the objective here will be to get the key. The big boot allows you to do a ground stomp that will hit the on-off switch. The on-off switch will block off your ability to come back out. Well, right now we don't know where the key door is matched. This probably is enough to go to the exit. So we don't actually have a reason to come back through here unless we need to do any kind of item reloading. That might be the case, since we are given access to come back out here. If we need to reposition some items on spawn, that would be one thing we do. It looks like the key is matched to the 8th note block that is on the right side. And that we don't actually have a way to get over there. Let's see what's in this block. Probably a vine, because it needs to be something that's refreshable. The P-switch will drop the blaster by 1 slot. Okay, so that's just a mushroom. I was just wondering about that because there was some possibility that the blaster would be able to maybe shoot something that winds up with a claw. One possibility is if you hit the P-switch, maybe there's something buried under this blaster, like a coin or something that kills it. But no, it wouldn't be. What I'm thinking is like maybe there is another object overlap of some sort that is related to spawning back and forth through the door with the P-switch activated. However, the P-switch, once active, prevents you from going back here. This is just a reset door now that I look at it, and the vines are there to enforce that you're not allowed to carry any items or wear the shoe coming into the reset. It just forces a full reset. So that's the whole point of this thing here. I don't think there's any utility beyond that, but we'll keep an eye on it. So, stomping this, yes, okay, so there actually was a blue block underneath. What this allows me to do is get over to the right side, maybe. So here's the issue, that I'm trying to figure out a way to drop something onto the note block or jump block over here. Because what that will allow me to do is drop the P-switch. In order to do that, however, I think I need to activate a P-switch first. Maybe. Let's take a look at this, because one thing I don't know about is whether there is some kind of push interaction on a shoe on the ground. I didn't think so. However, the stomp allows you to do some displacements of objects that could potentially be what is necessary to disrupt the P. We need to keep this in mind because the stomp, I feel like, is going to be one of the central interactions here when we eventually get to it. Currently, we have no way of getting down there. You can activate Divine, but it doesn't do anything for you. You can't duck underneath. You can't really get pushed either. The thing about bumper pushing is that there is something to it that I don't know. I've definitely gotten stumped on bumper-related puzzles before when it comes to trying to pass myself through. I think the idea, though, is that eventually I do want to somehow sneak an object over to the right side and have it get picked up. Oh, here's the thing. The blaster does give you a mushroom. The mushroom, if positioned properly, would be able to drop the P-switch by landing on top of that block. So if I had left the blaster in place and let the mushroom fall, bumping the block should have been able to carry the mushroom over to the right side to drop the P. So let's reset. And let's reset to bring back the blaster. Spawn a mushroom and then we hit the mushroom. Okay, so here's the P. We can hit the blue block first to get rid of the blaster. I think the idea is that we actually do need to transport the mushroom, though. The mushroom needs to go across the conveyor, and eventually that will lead it to go up the slope, on top of the white semi-solid, to the left, and then drop on top of the key. So, here's one thing that we can do. We can spawn another mushroom, which meant that I needed to destroy that one in the first place. If we figure out how to spawn another mushroom and then hit a P-switch, and then pop this, then what happens is that we'd be able to bump the mushroom out to the left. Once you bump the mushroom out to the left, then you're set, because then you just need to make sure that this is set to the off state. Mushroom rolls over, it hits the button, and everything is fine. Still don't know what's going on with that claw over the portrait square, though, then, because we don't have a good answer for that. Unless there's something that would push me personally over. Sending the P-switch over does nothing. That's not going to be it. We're likely going to time out this attempt. I'm just thinking very carefully about what to do with this. Because I want to keep the P somehow. And consume the mushroom. There's going to be a particular timing, I think, where we grab the P, kill the blaster, and then I go up to consume the mushroom. But if we kill the blaster, then I don't have a good way to deal with spawning additional mushrooms, do I? Unless I come back and reset. If I come back and reset, the problem with that is that I don't think I can do that as Super Mario. We'll have to check that. So anyway, first step is going to be this. Okay. We can kill the blaster, but killing the blaster means that we need to get the current mushroom over. The way to do that, oddly enough, might actually be through the P-switch. We just need to consume it once, though, if we want to spawn a second one from the blaster, as we may have to do on a future attempt through here. Either that, or I need to find a way to smuggle the P-switch up top. Yeah, because right now the item reset is just one big item reset. I don't think I can do anything with it. Because I think it's specifically designed to prevent me from carrying anything through. Now, this upper perch here is interesting. You can get up there with a P-jump, you can also get up there with a shoe. You can't hit anything up there, but you might be able to do some other interaction, perhaps. Now, why would I want an interaction in that position? Might just be decorative, too, but I think that a lot of these things that are seemingly decorative in a Grotowski level are very often going to turn out to be functional. So, we can drop the P. Yeah, I don't think Super Mario can climb off this one-tile location, as I was saying before, but in order to punch another mushroom to the left side, we have to be able to spawn a second mushroom, though, and come back through the reset door at least once. Like, going back through the reset door at some point is mandatory. So the question is there some way I can activate the P-switch remotely while I am already past this? Because what I want to do is I want to be able to spawn in here with the P-switch already active, maybe. Well, we need to actually try something, perhaps. Also, okay, this is important. P-switch displaces the boot. The boot still has a certain disappearance timing. But the fact that the P-switch displaces the boot is really important. It may actually be able to push it into some weird locations. And also notice the boot drop on the P when you do a loose drop like that. I want to check if that interaction is actually going the way I think it is. I believe that is actually how it works, but let's just check, because that's going to be vital. Because what that means is that if you have a sort of remote boot drop on top of the P, then I can have the P-switch active when I'm running through the doors on either side, so... So let me just check this with the boot drop here. Yeah, boot drop definitely hits the P. So that's really important, because if we can actually do a boot drop that will allow me to come through here, then we're in good shape. The question is, though, whether I can, in fact, trigger that somehow. That claw position is really something that I'm thinking about the whole time, because that claw position looks primed to be doing something like a drop on top of a P-switch. So, for example, let's say we reset. And let's just show you what happens with the momentum off the conveyor belt. We decide to do something like drop an object on it. So yeah, we're going to reverse direction. The P is not going to do anything right now, but I wonder if I could actually have done a hard throw on it and wound up putting it below the claw. The other thing, too, is that I could think about whether anything I could have done would obstruct the mushroom somehow. Yeah, not really seeing that so far. Okay, we'll just reset through this quickly. Likely going to be running into another timeout again, but right now we really just need to break down what kind of problem we need to solve. I feel like this is going to be relevant. I mean, we do need to activate a P-switch somehow. Notice, too, that the P-switch has this little bounce on top of the shoe like that. That could be important, actually. That a P-switch can, in fact, drop on top of the shoe. No, only when it's sitting on top of the claw like that. This is a really strange interaction, actually. It's very, very weird. I've never seen that before. In fact, the fact that the P that has a hard collision with a shoe as long as the shoe is being held in a claw, and is therefore kind of being permanently active rather than something that can be clipped through. Look at that, it bounces right back to me too. It's kind of like dribbling a basketball or something. Anyway, let's not get too fixated on little things like that. Yeah, Mang, unfortunately we don't have any kind of Space Jam command just yet. But yeah, I feel like there's probably a way to, you know, push a shoe onto a P and or find some other way to manipulate the P-switch. So for example, if I kill this right away, and then I hit this, and then I hit the mushroom, I'm still able to grab the P-switch as somebody big. Now, does that change anything? No, because the P-switch P is just going to remain in that position. Oh, also notice that the P, it can be pushed while it's on the floor, and so we maybe should have considered that. The other thing, too, is that... Oh. Well, the mushroom in the location that it is, what else could we have done? I'm just looking at this claw the whole time on the right side and thinking that if there's a way to get an object into that claw and then activate it, then we can drop it on top of the P. Either that or we just hold the P in the claw. Anyway, I'm big. I can come through here. Oh, okay, you know what? That's going to be part of the solution, I'm sure. So let's say I come through here. Is there a progressive power-up that comes from the blaster? That's going to be an interesting question. Yes, there is. So now we can grab the fire flower, and maybe that changes something. Except, of course, we can't access that until we blow this guy up. Very interesting. I didn't know that we would have that. Not that I could take damage anywhere but the spike. And so that's not useful either. Oh, also notice that this might actually have been able to deflect the mushroom by itself. It's going to despawn in that position once I get off the boot, but... I kind of wonder, because if, say, you destroy that boot before it naturally despawns, what in particular would change about the ability to fire the fire flower? Nothing much, really. I mean, one thing that can change is we can go through here. And maybe there actually is some item progression that would come through. Nope, just a 1-up, okay. Little bonus for those of us who bother checking. I kind of wonder if I come back here whether we'll find out that anything was hidden by the overlaps. Nope, doesn't seem so. Well, we found a 1-up, that's progress, I guess. Okay, back here again. We know that this is going to be another fire flower, because we've seen all of this before. We do need it to be a mushroom, though. But then I'm wondering about how to block the mushroom, perhaps. Such that it doesn't get trapped on top of the semi-solids, whether there's a way to do it. Not sure I really see it. Because the whole bumper setup here is very clearly built to make that happen with the super mushroom. So we know a couple of things. We know that we can do the Pea and Goomba displacements. It also works with the fire flower. We know that killing this guy, knocking out the bullet blaster, just really prevents more mushrooms from coming by, but can we live with that? Given that I'm able to send the fire flower up a spot, and we would have been able to do that with the mushrooms as well, without hitting that block. Yeah, still thinking about this. We need to break this down a little further, I think. Because I'm looking at it, and there's one intermediate step that I haven't really properly thought about, I think. Oh, and also, we need to not forget the clear condition. We do need to wear a shoe once we get to the end. Yeah, because if you send a Pea over... Oh yeah, the one thing I was going to try earlier was some kind of hard throw on a Pea. See how it bounces. Let's just redo this. Oh, we could have just done a gentle reset, but that's okay. Okay, so what happens if we just kill the blaster right away and spawn no item whatsoever? Can I still activate the P-switch? Probably not. I'm just thinking about whether we can do something to have a very similar outcome to the mushroom as what we have here. So, you know the mushroom drops the P. What happens if I just throw the P? Nothing on the red state. Yeah, if I could somehow get through there and destroy the mushroom. Or have deflected it back. But I really didn't have anything else I could hold. You know what? If we had stood here, stomping here would have actually reached the P-switch. I like that a lot better, because then we can save the mushroom instead of landing it on top. I think that is actually kind of a red herring. That note block on top of the P-switch is just a perch for it to sit on that will not be destroyed. However, doing so does open yourself to those problems. You need to spawn the mushroom first. But you can totally reach, I think. Should have tested that first once we got back in here. Yeah, maybe it doesn't reach anyway, so. And yeah, can we do something here? Yes, we can. That doesn't help because we've killed the blaster already. We need to activate the P-switch first. Can we activate the P-switch using the ground stomp without the use of the mushroom? That's the important thing here. We'd still need the mushroom on the left side though, because sending the mushroom up the slope is the only thing that will actually solve the problem for me. One thing we can do is to just use a different object entirely, rather than killing this off. Yeah, you have the mushroom landing in there. You need to spend the mushroom to get the P, but you need the P to prevent the mushroom coming back. Now, the trick to the mushroom, of course, is that as long as you consume it, more mushrooms will appear, because that's just going to be the internal blaster logic. So, for example, if we had some artwork here first. Yeah, there's no functional difference between sending it by ourselves to the right and having other people doing the same thing. What we need is some way to move it to the left. And that would be contingent on not only hitting the on-off switch, but also the P-switch. And the problem is that striking out here is going to push that mushroom. Yeah, so mushroom hits the P is totally unaffected. Nope, don't think so. There's probably some item displacement logic that we can think about here. Let's just start fresh. there is some kind of edge case behavior maybe that I just don't know about. But yeah, so we know the ultimate objective is going to be to send a mushroom to the left. So what do we do to get the P-switch before that? Option A, send a mushroom there and consume it. We don't know how to consume it. Don't really see a way to do it, in fact. We know that hitting the on-off switch at all is going to blow up the blaster, which will prevent spawning of more mushrooms. Yeah, we know that the... Oops. Note block program here isn't going to drop the P, at least not at that level of influence. So there may or may not be any additional benefit to bringing multiple boots over with you. Don't actually need to be doing so many resets manually, but I feel like starting with a clean slate is a decent idea here. Also noticed that, I guess the more I play this, the more this bit with the bumpers here, it looks like the bumpers are the eyes of this cyborg creature with a blaster for one arm and a key for the other arm. These shapes just start to emerge once you've been playing a level for too long. Totally looks like a bit of a figure. So, do I have a way to consume or destroy this mushroom? Well, right now, I don't see a way that's unavoidable. Unless we just do everything without that mushroom somehow, in a way that allows me to just have it intervene at precisely the right moment. I still think that, first of all, there's something going on here with this drop. And secondly, the way that you can drop objects on top of boots that happen to be on claws. That seems really, really important. Yeah, I'm making surprisingly little progress here, but that's because this stream has gone on a bit long and I'm possibly a little bit fatigued. We may have to continue this at another point, but as long as I consume the mushroom and I spawn a second one, I'll be fine. But I need to leave the blaster alive in order to do that, and I'm currently not seeing the way to do it unless we do some kind of remote drop, as I said, so. I go up and grab the mushroom. Is there a way to do that? We're not activating the blue block, so the blaster can remain in place. Simple-minded way to do it would have been to just activate a P-switch so you can drop the blaster one slot without activating on-off to kill it. I think that might be fine, actually. Drop this. You hit the P-switch, it's still not going to spawn another mushroom though, that's the issue here. So let's say we hit the P-switch. Then we can... Well, I mean, it's only going to last for the duration of the P-switch, I guess, before it then also dies. Yeah, if I can find some way to delay the drop of the shoe on top of That P-switch. Just trying to figure out how to make these collision boxes work in my favor. Green pipe to the left is just for the spawning of his shoes. That's not going to be relevant here. What is the claw on the right side even for? That's a continued mystery. Because if I didn't know better, and if I didn't see mushrooms spawn into this blaster, I would have said that you're, maybe able to send bullets or something into that thing. Into the claw on the right. Teramis, welcome. Yeah, Teramis, coming to the end of a fairly long stream. I wrapped up an indie game earlier today, and I had a little bit of time left over to look at puzzles, so we're just looking at puzzles, and I think I may be just tired because I usually don't have so much tunnel vision on these, and today this one has not been going too well. So if you've never seen this before, let me just show you what's going on so far. So we need the key somehow. It's very clear to me that we need to send a mushroom over to the right side to roll over onto that jump block to activate the key. The only mushrooms come out from the bullet blasters here. Oh, you have seen this puzzle before, okay. And the question block over here allows me to trade the mushroom for the P-switch, but I don't have a way to obstruct the mushroom from going any further once it hits that block. I think. I mean, maybe there is some kind of combination where I need to jump at the correct time. You know what? I think that actually is going to be what I have to do here. That I need to raise the mushroom by getting a boot up here. The problem is that I can't do that while I'm still trying to keep the bullet blaster alive, which is where a lot of these problems are coming from. I don't want to activate the on-off switch yet. But I also can't really tell these shells, sorry, not these shells, but these shoes to get up to the bridge level. So for example, let's say we just killed this outright. That would give you an additional perch of one block that allows you to come up here. That would have allowed me potentially to hit mushrooms. You know what? That's fine to get rid of the blaster, because if we're reusing the same mushroom, then we activate the P-switch, then we can actually send it to the left. Okay, no, I've been overthinking this. This is simple. This is not hard. All this time I was thinking about keeping the blaster for a second mushroom when I just needed to reuse the first one. Okay, no. I've been thinking about this totally wrong. Also, notice this interaction. This is really cool. The P collision on the boot when the boot is on the claw. I don't know if I've actually seen that used effectively ever, really. I think it's a concept that's definitely worth keeping in mind for some future purpose. So yeah, let's get the P out of the way. Let's activate the on-off switch. Get the boot on top here. This is not high enough. However, if I stomp on top of the P... no, because I don't have enough height here. I think I absolutely needed to stop the mushroom somehow. But yeah, if we hit the P and then get up there, just need an additional blocks off of object. Just to do this thing properly. Really feels like I need some kind of blocking piece over the mushroom when it comes up. I didn't think it actually went all the way up like that, but it does, because that's the only way it's accessible to me after the fact. We need some way to move that mushroom. Move it back down. Currently, I just don't see how that's going to happen unless we come over here and... no, I don't know why I thought that was a good idea. I mean, if I do this on top of here, it's totally traps the boot. It will despawn, of course, or get killed by the other boot if we want. Yeah, it needs a way to move the mushroom, basically. Or a second usage after the P-switch has been given us. Sort of considering a timeout rather than just fumbling with a reset. Or, not a timeout at 300 obviously, but considering a reset, shall we say. Yeah, still don't know about the closet or right side. Maybe there's something that can be done with transporting a boot over. The boot doesn't fit in these locations, but I was trying to play a little bit earlier with doing object pushes with it. It despawns a little bit too quickly, though. Missing something obvious. Yeah, within one block of the mushroom is fine, within 2 blocks is not fine. I think the mushroom always does end up on that top level like that. Which is a big problem. Unless, of course, you activate the P-switch so quickly that the mushroom gets killed or something on top of the P block and respawned by the blaster. Except you would lose access to this block. So if you have this block available, then that's a different story. Yeah, I might not be able to finish this one today. I may have to think about it and just get a little bit of distance and no doubt solve it in 5 minutes after I choose to do that, which happens all the time with puzzles. I'm just looking at a key that's dangling on that slope and attached to a note block and wondering if, you know, maybe the mushroom is just one big red herring and just throwing something at the key is going to pick it up. The only thing we can throw being the P-switch, of course, but but if we could do something like activating the on-off switch now, just do... Whoops, no. That was a mistake. So that's kind of interesting, this interaction here. This is strangely captivating. Now here's the thing, if the shoes keep getting killed, that obviously won't have an effect on the lifetime of the one that I'm wearing. But we can probably use this to continue pushing the P further and further past its initial point. Why you would want to do that is beyond me, but... yeah, I may just be way out of practice when it comes to anything puzzly. So for example, let's say we just assumed that the standard stuff was just perfectly functional. Next thing you would do is you would do this. You would take that. No, it's just going to get trapped. We did try it before, so. Yeah, this is just going to be a planetary part of the curriculum. If we had an object to stand on that I could get on top of, that would be just so much more useful. I'm missing something really, really critical here. Some kind of interaction that either gets rid of the mushroom or moves the mushroom. I wonder if I activate a P-switch if I can just use a shoe, or use a P-switch itself, actually. You know, that's something to consider. Use the P-switch directly, perhaps. I didn't really need to reset out of that, I just needed to play it a bit more gracefully, I think. We shouldn't have hit that so early. Let me just try to do this again. Okay. Drop that. Let's get the P-switch out of the way before we get rid of the blaster. Notice that bounce on a P-switch just now. That was really quite entertaining. Now, why don't I bounce the mushroom from below? That's fine, because now we can actually raise the mushroom this way. I do need to activate the P, though. And once I do that, then I can send the mushroom over the middle. There we go. Yeah, no, we've got it, we've got it, we've got it. Send a mushroom over. See, that wasn't that bad. And yeah, the mushroom just gets captured by the bounce. I should have seen that coming. Why did I spend so long on this? Well, that was not hard at all, actually. The only insight there was just doing the P plus mushroom stack. So that took me uncharacteristically long, considering that that particular interaction was just kind of staring me in the face the whole time. I'm running kind of over time, but I'm tempted to just do one more while we're here to just atone for the disaster we made just now. Let's take a look at the Queen's Questionable Quest. This will definitely be the last thing I do today. And yeah, you embark on a strange quest in a strange land for a total stranger. How strange. Only 9 clears on this so far. Let's not tunnel quite so hard this time. Okay, single screen here, but it's part of a grand adventure, I'm sure, given the 2-minute clear time. We need to see what this is. Ah, okay. Probably should have not gotten trapped here. I mean, I didn't know it was going to be a mushroom, so we do need to drop this first, or actually just capture this quickly. And, yeah. I've actually not seen something on the more trollish side from Rakowski before, so this is actually new to me. I may not do it if it's like a really full-scale troll. Like I may save it for something that's more of a troll stream. No, we do need to have the Thwomp activate. And... because this is a straight-up troll level, I didn't know that would be the case going in. So let's think about it, because we need to get something in position for the Thwomp to hit the on-off switch, perhaps, and allow me to go through that door. I need to not hit this thing, then. What if I just, yeah, stepped like that? Oh, that's fine, actually. Now I can hit that. Now I can go through this door. Dev exit. Okay. So we'll hit the P-switch and then we'll see what happens. It's not a dev exit. Okay. Now we know. Yeah, we may hold this for another time if it's going to be a full-scale troll adventure. Ah, okay, so we just need the... we need to be tall, of course, to get past that, but I was trying to read the text and I couldn't actually figure out what that was saying. No, we need to be small first. Yeah, I don't have any particular objection to playing trolls, I just wasn't expecting to take one at the very end of the stream, so... So what does this actually say? Mush. Okay. Well, we don't have a mush, so too bad. Okay, no, that's fine, actually. Yeah, I just needed to go a little bit faster to get through the key door, instead of staring at that. I feel like the second key up top was bait, but we'll find out about that soon enough. Okay. Yeah, let's just do this. Side Thwomp is going to go right, so... do we need the second key? Probably not. Checkpoint. Okay, that's fairly efficient so far. So we have a key... we have also some mock signage that's in the middle over here. Seesaw would raise the mushroom if we wanted to bounce the mushroom around somehow. Let's bounce the mushroom around somehow. I guess we can't. Unless we have some further weights. Is this anything? That is something reloadable. also takes me up, but that's okay. That's checkpoint. Checkpoint is going to revert the on-off state back to on, though. That is potentially relevant. I think the thing that's being implied here is you get key door plus mushroom, and then you can just step on top of the muncher and do everything else, but obviously it's unlikely to be that simple. Yeah, Kanken Boy, unfortunately, I am already kind of past the amount of time I have for today's stream. I am doing viewer levels in this block on the the same block of time in the Saturday morning and Sunday morning streams, so Friday night or Saturday night if it's late night for you. So does my regular viewer level days, and I'll take that level then if you're able to come back. Today I'm just totally out of time. I'm already kind of overtime just by trying this troll. And I might not be able to finish it, so... Okay, Spike Ball is going to do its little thing here. Alright. Well, I need to take damage to go through. So we'll just do that. This will cycle me back through, though. Oh, whoops, didn't see the displacement coming the second time. Really should have paid attention to that. Anyway, this was surprisingly straightforward, this interaction here, despite the really conspicuous looking scroll break potential of either side of the screen. Yeah, so you got the spike ball thing going here. How did I get past that previously? I think I just let it roll, actually. Didn't actually remember what I did, because I wasn't paying much attention. Alright, let's push through. And, yeah, Spike Ball is just going to come right out of here. Let it roll. But we needed that in order to have the mushroom come out, right? So, yeah, really interesting sort of L-shaped interaction over here. We actually could potentially just jump past it. Oh, maybe not. No, the way I did it previously was fine. It's just that I don't have the timing worked out for that. So we'll just come back here. Okay, there we go. Needed to rush ahead to take this. And do this. Once again, I don't know if I needed to outrun. Oh, that's fine, actually. Okay. That's fine. Made it through all of that, and we have item choice here. SMB2 gets you through to Cloud. Link gets you through the bomb on a scroll break on the right side. Fire Flower gets you something. What if I take nothing? Okay, so you can still bomb your way through that with Link. I don't really trust the camera positioning here. I think it's potentially something that we can just pluck our way through. Down below. Nice little shop setup though with the slopes. Well, worth a try. We needed to check, and we checked. Alright, so just need to be aware of the fairly finicky pattern on the other side. Okay. Yeah, we'll just drop all the way down quickly. And through we go. And yeah, all of this displacement is going to... nope. I probably just need to go faster, actually. I did find a good drop timing there before. That's slow, but it's a little difficult to execute that way, and so I don't really trust that as the solution. Okay, let's just drop quickly. Same idea. And we'll take this. Yeah, a little bit tricky to just do that. That's fine. A little bit risky, but we can, in fact, go through. Looks like we actually do need Link. I don't know, because the cloud placement there really does make me think that if we had dropped further to the right, maybe that could have been something. I don't trust this at all, to be honest. I think that we may actually have wanted to use SMB to... yeah, especially because we don't actually have access to either of these with the slope interaction here, so... Here's the thing, that if you are tall, then you don't activate this stuff. So it's trying to bait you into doing the short jump. When that's not going to be it. Because if you try to do the short jump, you're going to run into the blocks. And... you can, however, possibly just pluck your way out of this. No, still no. Okay. Yeah, but if you're tall, you can still... not activate the vine blocks. If you're short, you're definitely going to activate the vine blocks no matter what, so... that will not be the way to look at that. Alright, let's just take this. And down we go. Same idea here. Like I said, don't really like this timing, but if we do it that way, that's much safer. Just need to go fast. We can just try to skip SMB2 completely. No, actually, no. I understand how to do it. You activate one block, not both. And you just jump on top of it. And that's all there is to it. And I think the scroll break is probably going to happen by proximity or with a Master Sword that comes out of this location here. Okay, that's fine. That's going to hit you. Don't think there are going to be any alternatives to that. So we need a mushroom. Oh, we need no mushroom. Okay. Sure, let's just take that on faith. Story time. Interesting. Let's listen to the story. Once upon...
Hello.
Look at this, we're kind of being taken through here in a carriage, like the little Princess Toadette that we are. Once upon a time, we were unable to interact with anything whatsoever, and dragged it to our death, but maybe there's some kind of checkpoint trickery here. No, there isn't. Maybe I did need to interact with something in that segment, or the... oh, didn't see this happen before. Ah, no, it's a checkpoint fakery. This is what it is. I think. Yeah, this is definitely some kind of checkpoint fakery. So the question is, how do we get around it? Given that I was getting trapped in that location. Let's look at this very carefully. We may need to reactivate this again just to see what's going on here. Okay, spike ball. It's going to knock that out. But I'm trapped in here though, so I think we need to find some other way to activate this. Because I currently don't really have a way to go through the seesaw, since that is on top of a hidden semi-solid. So we need some other way to trigger things. Oh, okay, no, except I should have seen that this... Let's see this again, because this activates something. Yeah, so you can see that there is a block that is under the muncher, and so we can tap the block under the muncher, and that will give me the key as well as the access to the door. That's all it is. We just needed to pay attention to what was going on there. So yeah, interesting checkpoint fake out actually, that I see how this is done. It's because right before you get squished to death, that's the end of the track segment that's in the story time earlier, and so it drops you on top of the checkpoint right as you die, off screen. And so that's how that gets hidden. Now here's the question. Yeah, so the first key door there is just a fake out. And there is more. We can go all the way through. We have a lot of choices here, actually. I don't know what the blaster is going to give me. It looks like it is kind of blocked right now. It gives you a platform. Don't know about that. What happens if I try to respawn through here? Nothing, because the block remains a block. Ah, okay, and then if you try to stand over here, then that gets spawned. So you actually do need to spawn one on the left side first. So you can come back here and just reset that gently, and that's not too big a deal. Yep. Now I did manage to get around this earlier. Nope, let's just... unfortunately, probably take a death. Yeah, this is just meant to be a face here, so it's just there to laugh at you. Okay, let's just do this a little bit more carefully this time. I do want to spawn this. Should be able to do it without getting whacked. Yeah, there we go. Because it is a red blaster. Whoops. So we just need to keep in mind that it is a red blaster. It's going to drop that on the lower claw, which then allows me to come all the way through here. I mean, I am just going to dash through this stuff, so... But I wonder if I can do, like, a bomb kick like that. Okay. That's interesting. That... Womp is going to do that. If I run left, then I think maybe it can get me something here. It takes me a moment to read these things sometimes. It's been a long time since I've really done a bona fide troll of any sort, so... a little bit out of practice when it comes to mapping out these things. Anyway. We'll need to do the bomb kick. Really do think that's going to be the right way, rather than trying to door. Okay, so that's just going to be a bit of a jump scare moment that gives me this. Link is going to allow me to come through here and then go through the door with the Master Sword, so I feel like that will do something for me. And that did something. Fuzzy beetles. Also gives me access to another Master Sword. I think I'd better take this in case I need to come back through the door afterwards. Okay, that's a yay. I find that extremely suspicious. I also want to drop some bombs on top of these coin blocks here just to see what happens. Not totally in range here. I think that's ice coins underneath. Okay, now that's interesting. I probably should have taken that. Let's check this one, though. Yeah, because you blow up the ice block and the coin drops on top of the lower block. I'm gonna take it. It's well hidden enough that I think it's worth checking. Something about a heart, something about a mushroom. Okay. I mean, having a mushroom allows you to hit the on-off switch. Yeah, because coming in here with a Master Sword would not have helped. That's okay. We'll do it that way then. And that's the key. Or that's a flagpole, rather. Okay. Probably should have recognized that from the way the end screen was disguised. Okay, sped through some of the last parts in there, at least. That is the Queen's questionable quest, so yeah. So, glad we fit in a couple of puzzles today. A much longer stream in the end than I expected. Partly because I just had massive tunnel vision in the puzzle prior to this one on what was a fairly simple solution, and also just didn't expect a bit of a light-hearted troll at the very end of this. Have to keep that in mind the next time we see something tagged as art. Alright, so that's going to be it for this stream. Thank you for joining me for both Carto and the puzzle session. And tomorrow we'll probably be cramming in another indie, and then with viewer levels coming in the weekend after that, it's going to be a busy streaming week. Assuming everything goes according to plan. But that's really the ambition that we're going to be working with for the schedule right now, so in the meantime, I've really got to log off, so let's send you on to a raid, even with this tiny audience. And yeah, we'll find somebody interesting and pass you on very shortly. So, once again, thanks for watching. Thanks for sticking around. We've got lots more where that came from. And have a good morning, good afternoon, or whatever. The usual. And fare thee well.